Okay, great. Hello, this is John on behalf of Harsh and John, presenting our Foreign Whispers project. Uh, Here we have the UI for it. Immediately, you have the list of videos that we have selected as tests on the left. And all you have to do is you just select any one of them, and you hit Start Pipeline, and it will start rendering that video. It will convert the video uh, from English to Spanish. So let's hit this one. This is the provided test video. First thing that it will do is it will attempt to grab the video from YouTube. I've already pre-done that. So here you have the original video.
Alright, so here we are, one of the elephants.
Okay, so as you can see, this is in English. Uh, After the video is downloaded, uh, and we also attempt to capture the captions and the transcript from YouTube as well. And if we are able to grab the transcript, we skip the transcribe step, uh, which uses Whisper to translate from speech to text. However, there is still a step that is not shown here after we have the, uh, even though Whisper is not used, I'll call it a Whisper segment. After we have the Whisper segments, uh, that is stitched together once again from shorts, maybe incomplete sentences, to longer connected phrases, connected sentences. The deer rise, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. Uh, well, the speaker deorization manages to split up the audio, or rather yeah, it manages to note who is speaking at what time. Uh, so then we can identify different speakers and apply different voice to each of them. The sentence stitching that I mentioned just now, the segment grouping, that respects the speakers. So two different sentences from two different speakers would not end up being spoken by the same speaker after translation. After we have the metadata for who is speaking when, that is sent to Chatterbox here. Well, not yet, to Argo Translate to translate everything to Spanish, and then it is sent to Chatterbox to be converted from text to speech. After which, it is returned to us, and we stitch the audio together, respecting when certain audio bits were playing in the first place. And then we attach it to the video, and we display it here. So in the time I spent explaining all this, seems like this video finished processing is only 18 seconds, so let's give it a listen. Though before we begin, I do want to note that in the original video it was 19 seconds. So the overall length of the video might vary slightly. So let's take a look.
Muy bien, así que aquí estamos, frente al elefantes. Lo bueno de estos chicos es que ellos realmente troncos muy largos y eso es genial. Y eso es casi todo lo que di.
Okay, so a couple of things. This video in its original, there was a segment near the beginning here where there was a animal cry or a bleat that was noticed, and that is why during the speaker deorization, we see that two speakers were found. However, because there's only one speaker here, in reality, there's only one voice sampled for the video. So even though two speakers were found, and most likely throughout the pipeline, it noted that there were two speakers, both speakers use a very similar voice clip, so in the end, you can't really notice that there are two speakers in the audio. There was one segment here.
Really, really long prompts.
Right. So the speaker says really, really, he drags out the sentences, or the phrase right here. And that causes some issue for the alignments. when there is no other phrases nearby to try to cover that up. So what happens here is we hear
Troncos muy largos y eso es genial.
a little bit of a stretch. Uh, we decided to do a 0.9 times multiplier on the speed here. That slows down the audio slightly, but usually if the audio is clear, it is not so noticeable. In this case, the audio is not so clear, so it does sound a little bit more robotic than in other cases. Um, and that is pretty much it for this video. However, I do want to show off one more video that we did. This is a bit of a longer one, but it does show off the speaker dearizations really well. I have already pre-processed this video. As you can see, everything here is done. And this also does showcase that we do cache completed videos, so then if you want to watch them again, you don't have to go through the whole process again. So let's give it a listen.
Cada vez más, los padres estadounidenses están pasando más tiempo en el trabajo y menos tiempo en casa. Con el costo de las niñeras en aumento, muchos se están convirtiendo en una nueva solución a su dilema de cuidado infantil. Susan Y. Mark Andelman de Portland, Oregon, comenzaron a enviar a su hijo, Timothy, a una guardería en la India hace 4 meses.
Oh, solía ser una molestia por la mañana. Ahora a veces soy capaz de meterlos justo en la caja sin siquiera despertarlos. Entonces es mucho
más fácil. La subcontratación. Timothy funcionó tan bien que decidieron enviar a su hija de 3 semanas, Brittany, a cuidado infantil en Sri Lanka. Aunque los salarios ganados por los trabajadores de cuidado infantil en el extranjero parecen bajos para los estadounidenses, en países como la India están sobre un
millones de veces el salario promedio. Son solo 12 centavos por hora en la India, que es mucho más barato que 300 que estaba pagando una semana aquí en los Estados Unidos. Es una gran mejora. Antes de que estuviera actuando. Muchos gritos y gritos. Ahora, ¿cuándo lo desacramos?
Está completamente claro. Sí, por 2 o 3 días. Sin embargo, el sistema no carece de sus problemas. En junio, Patricia Naddings de Omaha, Nebraska, escribió incorrectamente su código postal, causando que la pequeña Kimberly Naddings pasara casi
Semanas perdidas en el correo. ¿Tengo que ser mía?
a continuación. ¿Hay balas en tu cuerpo? Quédate con nosotros. Volveremos enseguida.
All right. So that finishes this showcase. There were a couple of problems that I want to note. So throughout this video, we have the anchor, the two parents, the second interviewee, and we have the child at the end. These are the 5 voices that do speak throughout the video. However, well, the dearization process really likes to cut down the number of speakers. So in the end, what we have here are just 2 speakers. One is a male voice, which ended up being the anchor's voice, which occurs first, and then the second one being the female's voice, which ended up being the mom's voice. The mom's voice is later then reused for the second interviewee, and also for the child at the end. There's also an issue with how the sentences are cut. So, although we try to stitch sentences together so that sentences spoken by one character, so for example here the anchor, all get sent to the translator at once so that the translator has the most amount of context as possible, and then the translated text gets sent to Chatterbox so that Chatterbox keeps a consistent voice throughout. In the beginning, during the whisper segment, when we get the captions from YouTube or the transcript from YouTube, and we get them into whisper segments, that is not always very clean cut. It is, it is generative, so it is not always consistent, and the model does not always split at the end of sentences. That's what happens here.
Kimberly Naddings Basarakasi.
When this phrase here should have been spoken by the anchor. However, In the pipeline, this sentence and this next sentence are stitched together in a single segment, and that's not done by us. We have no control over that. Or well, we have very little control over that. Truth be told, we would need to add word by word timestamping in order for us to separate these kind of segments, and that would increase the processing time by significant amounts. Speaking of which, Me at the Zoo is only a 19 second video that took us about 30 seconds to process, I would say. The Many US Parents video would take about 5-ish minutes from my experience, maybe 6, all the way up to 10 minutes, even though it's only a 1 minute, 22-second video. And all of these other 60-minute interviews, these ones take forever because these are very, very long. So let me start the pipeline here just to grab the original video to show you the length. For example, this one here is 7 minutes long. And this would take up to half an hour to process. But that might just be on my machine. I am running on a 2060 with only 6 gigabytes of memory, and that does end up being a problem for longer videos like this 60-minute interview one. We'll take a look at what happens if we run out of memory.
60 minutos horas extra. ¿Cuál es el peor escenario del caso?
Te preocupa que esté cerrado durante semanas, o hay semanas y que empieces a ver que la economía global está realmente impactada porque es la sangre de la vida en cierto.
Okay, so as we can see at the very beginning, the voice is somewhat correct. We have when the female speaker, the female interviewer was speaking, we heard a female voice. When the male interviewee was speaking, we heard a male voice, a little bit of a British accent, which he does have a British accent in the original video. However, let's skip forward to about, I want to say, 3 minutes in.
De una caída del presupuesto.
Right here,
Pero
about
fue como la-
3:30.
Unidos e
You can
Israel
see
y
that
otros países que esperó eventualmente, ese es un mal día para Rusia, un mal día para.
at the end of sentences, you will start hearing artifacts appearing. And then if we go even further down, there is a lot of missing segments.
Iran ha seguido sacando petróleo de la derecha.
You hear a lot of these kind
Lohan
of
hit-
artifact happening here. I want to see if, yeah. It seems that once I run out of memory, on my 6 gigabytes GPU, it just stops rendering and the rest of the video has no audio. Additionally, even though the rest of the video has no audio, our pipeline expects the Spanish to last longer. And so what happens is that when the audio is longer than the video ends, you have a black screen, but the audio continues to play, so that increases the total video length. And we see that in this onion video as well, towards the very end. We see about here.
Volveremos enseguida.
There.
Cut.
Just that last sentence, we are cut to black. Okay. That showcases pretty much our entire pipeline. You can add videos by going to a well, you can't go to here in 8501. You'll have to add new video links within the config files. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.